All right. Keen's Jay, everyone. My voice is still terrible. I'm still sick as a dog. I was in hell yesterday, and today I'm doing better, but not great, but better. Anyways, from last weekend, these are some gun stock clubs I made. I bought a piece of 4 foot long birch, 3/4 thick, Home Depot. Saw a good piece with nice grain that would be ideal for a gun stock, all things considered. And I decided to go with that. So yeah, had enough to make 2 full gun stock clubs, a miniature gun stock, and also a miniature sawtooth Atasa, which is the size of this one. It's actually in the garage. I cannot get to because my keys are misplaced at the moment. This one's from before. I actually got a piece of maple, also 3/4, and made that. I have another gun stock club that's not curved, not quite as curved as these, but does have a metal blade. It is cool. It is sanded better. It's got more like edge geometry that it should have. I'm going to sand these down more. Even though these look about the same width, this one is definitely like it feels wider, and because of that, I'm definitely going to cut it and then I'm going to sand it. I need to cut these a little bit more, and but this one probably is going to end up being painted blue with a red edge, probably with some brass upholstery tacks along the edge, maybe a cone right here from brass, and maybe a feather or something. I've seen a fox, as in Sack and Fox, pre-removal portrait that had a gun stock club like that. And to be honest, given the details in the artwork, it looks like it could probably be a piece of wood, no thicker than this. I know the gun stock clubs actually sometimes were actually the like thickness of an actual like rifle gun stock, but that wasn't always the case. It would appear from the artwork at least. Also, not all clubs were alike. More the only historical Muskogee Creek like curved gun stock club I've seen in artwork was actually more curved than this. There was no point right there. It was actually the whole thing was just curved, kind of like one of the Miami clubs I've seen, except not quite as big as that, and not with quite as big a spike. But again, there's only one piece of historical artwork I've actually seen that demonstrates that. Oh yeah, also there's more of a curve in this one. I'm going to do the same over here. I need to cut that a little bit more. But also this guy here, you might be able to see, I did some pencil artwork here. I'm going to make that a little more bird-like because now the historical art that I've seen that this is based off of, I've only seen one piece of art. There's like one of these on the ground, and it looks like there's a whole bunch of them like basically next to the rafters of the house. Or I don't want to say chicky. That's more of a Seminole term. I think Tolofa is more of the Creek term, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, my breathing sucks right now. But yeah, and some of these were kind of long. Some of these were kind of narrower looking. They were kind of, it's really hard to verify for sure if that was actually a war club in the artwork. It probably is. And if it is, if the one on the ground is a war club, then the ones that are like sticking up on the top of the posts of the building probably are also war clubs. It's not easy to ascertain with 100% certainty, but they're probably war clubs. I'd love to see some existing, gun stock clubs like this that are Creek or Cherokee for that matter. The only surviving examples I've seen that are Cherokee are the ball end war clubs with a kind of curved handle. And I'm actually going to make one of those. I already have one I started making like back in 2007, sorry, 2007, from a piece of walnut off my mom's tree. I brought it with me. Everything's a giant, massive piece right now. I need to do a lot of stock removal on it with a saw and then really just shape it into what it probably should be. My mom would probably prefer I leave it alone because it is kind of a cool, giant, massive piece, but in its current form, it's kind of ahistorical and almost too crude, but it definitely caused a lot of damage. Anyways, the ball war club that Cherokees have or had was also used by the Muskogee people. And the artwork I've seen actually does show the exact same style club with a spike on it. And so that's pretty cool. And the difference with the from the Creek versus the Cherokee ones I've seen is the Creek one almost seems to have some kind of ear on it. I'd have to kind of like show you guys the artwork or show you a replica that I have yet to make and yet to even start. So, but the artwork is cool. And yeah, it's a little bit different than the Cherokee one I've seen. But again, no two clubs are alike. No two gunstock clubs. No two, sawtooth Atasas. No two, ball-end war clubs are exactly identical. But I will say that the gunstock club from the northeast region of the country definitely made its way across the West. Like other tribes started using that, whether it's because of removal, whether it's just because they started getting exposed to the same stuff, or whether something similar already existed is hard to say. I will say that there were already curved saber-like war clubs among the southeastern peoples that, like there's one that is basically, a more curved version of this with a ball right here. And it's a Natchez war club. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. But in any case, oh, geez, sorry, I'm just breathing here. As far as the woods that would have been used, I know that walnut was actually pretty common apparently. Maple is an indigenous species of wood. Birch as well, I believe. I know that like locust is a wood that was used quite a bit for a lot of different things, including bows. And yeah, so as far as like what would be the ideal wood to use, like, I mean, if I get my hands on some hickory, that would be pretty awesome. Hickory is kind of the best wood to use for like just about anything that as far as bludgeoning goes and handles and things like that. But maple's also good. There's other good woods. So, but, oh yeah, so in addition to the Gunstock Club making its way west, so did the Ball-End War Club as far as the way it looked, the way the Cherokee made it, and the way that the, I believe also the Iroquois also made their clubs. That seemed, now either we sort of like discovered the same thing that may have already been used prior to westward expansion of the United States, or maybe the westward expansion might have actually caused these new styles of clubs to exist in the West that were old styles in the East. I don't know for sure. It is something I'm very curious about. There's not a lot of surviving examples of any of these styles. In fact, there's like no surviving examples of this type at all. Like I think, as far as I know, it only exists in artwork. The Natchez Club, likewise. And the only Creek, like I said, the only Creek gunstock style club that exists is more like a curved saber, like the Miami one. Although, again, there's accounts that have, oh, not again, I'm mentioning this for the first time, sorry. There's accounts, I believe, from the Fort Mims massacre where they were using gunstock clubs. And I believe the way we Muskogee people did it, they're painted red up to here, like all this painted red, and then the upper part was not painted red. It was to be painted red by the blood of our enemies, as I understand it, which sounds pretty brutal and pretty awesome at the same time, pretty horrible. So, but that gives the implication as far as like, where the curve starts to happen, that's pretty much like where you stop painting it. So if I were to paint both of these, I'll probably do this one red up to here and then leave the rest of it, as is. And this one I still kind of want to make like the Fox one, because that would be a cool thing just because. But the brass upholstery tacks that were used by the Fox people were also used by the Miami people and by other tribes in the East. And this would be a trade good. It's kind of like all the beadwork that the Creeks and Seminoles and other southeastern people did. They were sold on hanks, which is string, and those were basically acquired from Florence, Italy, apparently. So the bandolier bag that supposedly belongs to Osceola that still exists has hanks, or beads on hanks that came from Florence. So now, as far as where did the brass tacks come from? Probably England or Scotland or somewhere out there, most likely. Or maybe from, the American colonies. I don't really know. It's definitely something worth looking into. When and if I ever have the time. There's something else I was going to say about these things. But yeah, these things, they will have, like, I don't want to say spikes, but blades, triangular shaped blades sticking out right below that tip. And that will be really cool. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. Again, I apologize for my horrible voice and for all the sounds in the background. I want to create some more content before I get to my genealogy video. Of course, I've got, notations of stuff I need to, shout out to Blackout. I'm actually looking into stuff to find from the National Archives on specific ancestors. I'm really curious about that. He did the same thing on some of his, and I need to do the same thing on some of mine. Find more records if they're accessible. So, and apparently the National Archives have a lot. So, anyways, got any questions? Let me know. If you got any other pointers. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So what they used to do is they would take like tallow from animals, so I guess animal fat, and they would cover these things in animal fat, and then they would put them over a fire. Not like, to burn them, but to kind of like heat up the wood a little bit and heat up the oil so it sinks in and hardens the wood itself. So you don't want to burn the wood. You just want to really have that tallow saturate into the wood itself. And then I'm assuming afterwards they would then, paint it up to here and do their thing. So anyways, guys, that's it for now. I'll talk to you later. Mado.